David sat alone on the park bench, his gaze fixed on the path ahead where joggers passed in a steady rhythm. He was 68, recently retired, and wrestling with something he couldn't quite name. It wasn't just the free time or the absence of routine. It was the sense that time, once so abundant, had begun to narrow. 2 months earlier, his friend Michael had collapsed suddenly. He was only 72. A minor chest pain turned out to be a massive heart attack. No warnings, no goodbyes, just gone. It shook David in a way few things had. They'd played golf together the week before. Now there was just an empty chair at the club and a lot of questions David couldn't shake. That's when he started reading, not articles, but studies, medical reports, real research. What he discovered unsettled him more than anything. Most people didn't make it to 85, not because of fate or some unlucky draw, but because of things they did or didn't do after turning 60. He made a list. 5 deadly habits, 5 ways people unknowingly shorten their lives, 5 ways he didn't want to go. 1. Sedentary living. The first habit was the most obvious, yet the most overlooked: sitting. After 60, many people retire, slow down, and unintentionally fall into a lifestyle of excessive rest. Hours in front of the TV, long stretches on the couch, walking becomes rare, stairs become optional, and eventually movement becomes painful. David had started to feel this himself. His knees ached when he stood too long. Getting out of bed took effort. But the research was blunt. Sitting for more than 8 hours a day increased the risk of heart disease, diabetes, and early death, even in people who exercised occasionally. So David changed. He bought a simple pedometer and aimed for 8,000 steps a day. He started walking to the market instead of driving. After lunch, he strolled the neighborhood instead of flipping on the news. Movement became a ritual, not for fitness, but for survival. 2. Ignoring strength loss. The second habit was one he hadn't thought about: muscle loss. After 60, sarcopenia set in. Slowly, silently, the body began to shed muscle. Without resistance training, a person could lose 1 to 2% of their muscle mass each year. Michael had stopped going to the gym years ago. "No point," he used to say. "Too old to bulk up now." But David now realized it wasn't about bulk, it was about function. Muscles protect against falls, help regulate blood sugar, support the heart. Without strength, the body weakens from the inside out. So David started small. Bodyweight squats, light dumbbells, push-ups against the wall. Twice a week turned into 3. He wasn't chasing biceps, he was holding on to life. Number 3, nutritional drift. The third deadly habit surprised him: poor nutrition. Not the dramatic kind like fast food or binge eating, but the slow drift into undernourishment. After 60, appetite often declines, taste buds dull, and digestion changes. Many older adults eat less, and what they do eat lacks protein, fiber, and critical vitamins. David realized he'd been skipping breakfast more often. Lunch was usually a sandwich, dinner, something quick. He rarely thought about protein, let alone micronutrients. But the science was clear. Older adults need more protein, not less. They needed healthy fats for brain function, calcium and vitamin D for bones, and fiber for digestion. He overhauled his meals, not with fad diets, but with purpose. Oatmeal and fruit in the morning, grilled fish and greens at night, cottage cheese, lentils, almonds, berries. He began treating food like medicine because it was. No. 4. Sleep neglect. The fourth habit felt minor, but turned out to be critical: poor sleep. After 60, sleep becomes fragmented. People wake up more often. They nap irregularly. Some fall into the trap of late-night TV and inconsistent bedtimes. David had done this too, telling himself he didn't need as much sleep anymore. But the truth was, the quality of sleep mattered more than ever. Deep sleep was essential for memory, heart health, and immune function. A consistent bedtime, cool dark rooms, no screens before sleep, all small things with big consequences. David set a routine: lights out at 10 p.m., no coffee after 2 p.m., a short walk after dinner to regulate his circadian rhythm. Within weeks, he felt clearer, less foggy in the mornings, more alert, more alive. 5. Social withdrawal. The fifth habit was the quietest and the deadliest: isolation. After 60, friends move away. Some pass. Work ties dissolve. Family grows busy. Without effort, the social circle shrinks to almost nothing. And with it, the will to thrive. David remembered how withdrawn Michael had become. After his wife died, he stopped going out. Calls went unanswered. He rarely joined group dinners. "I'm fine," he'd say. But loneliness, as David had learned, was as deadly as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It raised cortisol, weakened immunity, and eroded mental health. So David reconnected. He joined a community garden, volunteered at the library. He even started attending a weekly chess night at the local community center. Conversations brought laughter. Laughter brought lightness. And that lightness, he believed, added years to his life. 1 year later, David was sitting on the same bench when a younger man, maybe in his 40s, sat beside him. They exchanged a polite nod, then silence. After a while, the man spoke. "My dad passed last week. He was 74, the man said, voice low. "I keep wondering if I'll follow the same path." David turned toward him. "You don't have to," he said. The man looked up. "You think we can outrun genetics?" "Not outrun," David replied, "but you can outlive habits." He told him about the 5 things he'd learned. The sitting, the muscle loss, the poor diet, bad sleep, and isolation. None of it felt urgent in the moment, but they piled up. Quiet killers. "But if you change those," David said, offering a slow smile, 85 doesn't have to be the finish line. It can just be another chapter. The man nodded thoughtfully. When David stood to leave, his step was steady, his heart strong, his body still aging, but not giving in. Because he knew the truth now. Most people don't die before 85 because of age. They die because of the things they stop doing once they believe age has already won.